In a grand hall, where the leaders of different alien races gathered, the atmosphere was buzzing with excitement. Bright lights shimmered above as creatures from all corners of the galaxy came together for a meeting of the Galactic Council. The walls were adorned with strange symbols and pictures of distant worlds. At the center of the hall, a large round table took shape. Each alien species had its representative sitting proudly, displaying their colors and features. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few were made of glowing energy. They were all there to discuss the recent discovery of Earth and its inhabitants, humans. The council members began to speak, their voices echoing off the walls. "Humans are nothing but a weak and silly race," said a tall alien with blue skin and sharp features. The others laughed, their voices rising in a chorus of mockery. They found it hard to believe that this primitive species could ever be a threat to anyone. "They rely on tools and machines. Just look at them," sneered a creature with multiple eyes. The council members nodded in agreement, each one trying to outdo the other with their jokes about humans. They pointed out human inventions like cars and airplanes, treating them as if they were toys made by children. Meanwhile, in a corner of the hall, two humans listened intently. Dr. Sarah Thompson, a brilliant scientist, and Captain Mark Reynolds, a decorated soldier, were there to represent Earth. They exchanged worried glances as they heard the laughter. Dr. Thompson felt a wave of anger rise within her. "They don't understand us," she whispered to Captain Reynolds. "They think we are just a joke." Captain Reynolds nodded, his jaw set with determination. "We need to show them that humans are more than they think. We cannot let them belittle us like this." They both knew that humans had faced challenges before, but this was different. The council's laughter felt like a slap in the face. As the meeting continued, the council members discussed plans to impose trade restrictions on Earth. "Why should we share our resources with a species that can barely fly in space?" said a round alien covered in thick green fur. The others cheered, echoing their agreement. They believed that limiting Earth's growth would teach the humans a lesson. Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds were stunned. The council's actions were unjust and the humans would suffer greatly. Dr. Thompson took a deep breath. "We can't just sit here and let this happen. We must prepare for what is to come." After the meeting, the two humans stepped outside, feeling the weight of their disappointment. The stars twinkled above them, but they felt small and insignificant beneath the vastness of space. "We can't allow them to think they can push us around," Captain Reynolds said firmly. "We have to do something." Back on Earth, Dr. Thompson began to rally scientists and engineers to work on advanced technology. She had a vision of creating powerful weapons and tools that could give humanity a fighting chance. Captain Reynolds returned to his military base, ready to train the best soldiers he could find. Days turned into weeks as both humans worked tirelessly. Dr. Thompson developed new weaponry and technology that would surprise the aliens. Captain Reynolds trained soldiers, instilling in them the importance of strength and unity. They knew that one day they would have to stand against the galaxy that mocked them. As preparations continued, rumors began to spread across the council. Some aliens started to hear whispers about what humans were doing. "They think they can become strong," said a nervous alien at a meeting. The others brushed it off, still laughing at the thought of humans being a real threat. But Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds remained focused. They knew they had to prove themselves, not just to the council, but to their own people. The laughter would soon turn to fear, and humanity would rise from being the laughingstock of the galaxy. In the depths of their hearts, they both felt a fire igniting. This was just the beginning. Humanity would not be a joke. They would take up arms and show the galaxy their true strength. Back on Earth, the atmosphere was charged with energy and purpose. Dr. Sarah Thompson had gathered a team of the best scientists and engineers at a secure facility. It was a place where innovation thrived and ideas flowed like a river. She stood in front of a large screen, her eyes shining with determination. "Listen up, everyone," she said, her voice steady and clear. "We have a chance to prove ourselves to the galaxy. They think we are weak, but we have strengths they don't understand. We can create powerful weapons and technologies that will surprise them." The room buzzed with excitement. Engineers began to sketch designs for advanced spacecraft, while others worked on new weapon systems. They wanted to build tools that could stand up to any alien technology. Dr. Thompson felt a surge of pride as her team brainstormed ideas, their creativity lighting the room. Meanwhile, at a military base across the country, Captain Mark Reynolds was training a new group of soldiers. They were young, full of energy, and eager to prove themselves. Captain Reynolds stood in front of them, a tough but fair leader. "Today we start our training," he announced. "You all know the council laughed at us. They don't see our potential, but we will show them what humans are capable of." The soldiers cheered, their voices echoing through the training grounds. They felt the weight of their mission, but also the thrill of possibility. Training was intense. The soldiers learned hand-to-hand combat, advanced tactics, and teamwork. Captain Reynolds pushed them hard, reminding them that they had to be ready for anything. "We can't afford to be weak," he told them. "Every moment counts. We are preparing for a fight not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity." As days passed, the bond between the soldiers grew stronger. They supported one another, sharing stories of their families and dreams. Each soldier brought a unique skill set, whether it was marksmanship, strategy, or technology. Captain Reynolds recognized that their diversity was a strength. Together, they would become a force to be reckoned with. Back at the research facility, Dr. Thompson was excited about a new project. She and her team had been working on a prototype for a powerful energy weapon. It could harness energy from the environment and turn it into a blast of force strong enough to damage alien ships. After weeks of hard work, the team finally completed the prototype. They gathered in the testing chamber, their hearts racing. Dr. Thompson took a deep breath. "This is it. We will see if our work pays off. Everyone ready?" The team nodded, anticipation filling the air. As they activated the device, a bright light filled the room. Energy surged through the prototype, and with a loud bang, it released a powerful beam that struck the target with incredible force. The team erupted in cheers. Their hard work had paid off. They had taken a significant step toward changing how the galaxy viewed humanity. News of their success spread quickly. Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds shared updates with each other, fueling their determination. They knew the Council would soon realize that humanity was not just a laughingstock, but a serious contender in the galaxy. However, in the Council chambers, whispers of Earth's advancements reached the ears of the leaders. "They think they can rise against us," said a worried alien with shimmering scales. The others shrugged it off, still believing that humans were not a threat. "Let them try," one scoffed. "They will fail just like they always have." But the truth was different. On Earth, the humans were preparing to rise. They were hidden beneath the surface, gathering strength, knowledge, and unity. Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds were becoming symbols of hope. They would not let their people down. As preparations continued, both leaders felt a fire inside them. They knew the time would come when they would stand against the galaxy that mocked them. When that moment arrived, humanity would fight with everything they had. Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds looked up at the stars, feeling the weight of their mission. They were ready to take on the galaxy and show everyone that humans were not to be underestimated. The day had finally come. Earth was buzzing with tension and excitement. Dr. Sarah Thompson and Captain Mark Reynolds had been preparing for this moment for weeks. They knew the Alien Council would not take their advancements lightly. It was time to show the galaxy that humans were not to be laughed at. As the sun set, casting a golden hue over the horizon, Captain Reynolds gathered his soldiers at the military base. The air was thick with anticipation. "Listen up, everyone," he shouted, his voice ringing through the night. "We have received word that an alien fleet is approaching. They think they can crush us easily, but they are in for a surprise." The soldiers stood tall, their eyes filled with determination. They had trained hard, and now it was time to put their skills to the test. Each soldier checked their equipment, making sure their weapons were ready. The atmosphere was electric, and they could feel the weight of the moment. Meanwhile, Dr. Thompson and her team were in the control room, monitoring the alien fleet. They were using advanced technology to track the movements of the ships. "The fleet is getting closer," Dr. Thompson said, her fingers flying over the keyboard. "We have to act quickly. We need to use our energy weapon and our new spacecraft." Outside, the soldiers were boarding their ships. Captain Reynolds led the way, confidence radiating from him. "Stay focused. Remember what we trained for. We are not just fighting for ourselves, we are fighting for Earth." The soldiers nodded, ready to face the challenge. As they launched into the sky, the soldiers felt a mixture of fear and excitement. The spacecraft soared through the atmosphere, leaving the planet behind. Captain Reynolds took a deep breath, glancing at his crew. "We are making history today," he said. "Let's show them what we can do." In space, The alien fleet was massive, with ships of all shapes and sizes. They looked down at the small human vessels, their confidence unshakable. "Look at them, sending out their toys to fight us," one alien sneered. "This will be easy." But the humans had a plan. Captain Reynolds signaled for his squadron to spread out, forming a strategic formation. "On my mark, we strike," he ordered, his voice steady. As they approached the alien ships, the tension in the air grew thick. "Now!" Captain Reynolds shouted. The humans unleashed their energy weapons, bright beams of light shooting toward the alien fleet. The blasts struck true, hitting several ships and causing explosions. The aliens were taken by surprise, their laughter turning into shouts of alarm. "What is happening?" An alien leader yelled, panic spreading through the ranks. The humans fought bravely, their determination shining through. They had come too far to back down now. The battle raged on, with humans using clever tactics to outmaneuver their larger enemies. They worked together, communicating effectively and supporting one another. Captain Reynolds led the charge, his heart racing with adrenaline. "Keep pushing forward! We are strong together!" As the battle intensified, more alien ships began to fall. Dr. Thompson watched from the control room, her heart swelling with pride. "They're doing it!" she exclaimed, her eyes glued to the screen. The humans were fighting with a strength that the Council had never expected. But the Alien Council was not finished yet. They sent in reinforcements, massive ships armed with powerful weapons. The humans faced a new wave of attacks, but they stood firm. "We can't give up now!" Captain Reynolds shouted to his crew. "We are making our stand." In the chaos, the humans began to realize the power of their unity. They fought not just for survival, but for respect. Every soldier pushed their limits, refusing to let fear control them. They were becoming more than just fighters, they were heroes. Finally, after what felt like hours, the tide began to turn in favor of the humans. With one last push, they unleashed their energy weapon one more time, hitting the alien flagship. The explosion lit up the dark void of space, signaling a decisive victory. As the remaining alien ships fled, cheers erupted among the humans. "We did it!" one soldier shouted, filled with disbelief and joy. Captain Reynolds smiled, his heart full of pride. They had shown the galaxy that humans were not the laughingstock they once thought. Back on Earth, Dr. Thompson watched the victory unfold on her screen, tears of joy streaming down her face. This was just the beginning of humanity's fight for respect. The aliens would remember this day, and so would the humans. After their surprising victory against the alien fleet, Earth was buzzing with excitement. News spread quickly throughout the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. Dr. Sarah Thompson and Captain Mark Reynolds stood in the command center, their faces lit by the glow of the monitors displaying interstellar communications. "We have to capitalize on this victory," Dr. Thompson said, her voice filled with determination. "If we can gain allies, we can strengthen our position in the galaxy. We can't fight every battle alone." Captain Reynolds nodded, understanding the importance of their next steps. "Let's reach out to other species who might feel threatened by the Council. They could be our strongest allies." With that, they began their mission to find potential friends. They sent messages to various planets known for their struggles against the Council. Their first target was the Zorathians, a fierce warrior race known for their combat skills. Despite their reputation, they were often at odds with the Council and looking for a way to stand against their oppressive rule. The humans set up a meeting with the Zorathians on a neutral planet known as Trian. It was a rocky world with deep canyons and high cliffs. As their ship landed, Captain Reynolds felt a mix of nerves and excitement. "This is our chance," he said, turning to his team. "Let's make a good impression." As they approached the meeting site, they saw a group of Zorathian warriors waiting for them. The Zorathians were tall, with muscular builds and blue skin. They wore intricate armor that gleamed in the sunlight. The leader, a strong figure with a fierce gaze, stepped forward. "You are the humans who defeated the Council?" he asked, his voice deep and commanding. Captain Reynolds took a deep breath. "Yes, we are. We want to form an alliance with your people. Together, we can fight against the Council's tyranny." The Zorathians exchanged glances, and their leader crossed his arms. "We have heard stories of your victory, but trust is earned, not given. What can you offer us?" Dr. Thompson stepped forward, ready to speak. "We can share our technology and combat strategies. Together, we can create a powerful force that will challenge the Council. We respect your strength and want to fight alongside you. After a tense pause, the Zorathian leader considered their words. Very well. We will give you a chance to prove yourselves. Show us what you can do in battle. With that, the two groups agreed to join forces. They spent the next few weeks training together, learning from one another. The Zorathians taught the humans about their advanced combat techniques, while the humans shared their technological innovations. As they worked side by side, a bond began to form. Meanwhile, back on Earth, news of the Alliance spread. The citizens felt a renewed sense of hope. They were no longer alone. They had powerful allies at their side. The government organized a broadcast to share their progress with the entire planet. Captain Reynolds stood in front of the camera, his voice strong. We are building a coalition to stand against the Council. Together with the Zorathians, we are preparing for whatever comes next. We will not back down. As the humans and Zorathians trained, other races began to take notice. On the planet Kalis, a group of technologically advanced beings known as the Krillians watched from a distance. They had been neutral for years, avoiding conflict. But after seeing the humans and Zorathians work together, they felt compelled to act. The Krillians sent a message to Earth, asking to meet. Dr. Thompson and Captain Reynolds welcomed the opportunity. We must show them our strength and unity, Dr. Thompson said as they prepared for the meeting. When the Krillians arrived on Tryon, they were intrigued by the alliance. They were sleek and elegant, with shimmering skin that changed colors in the light. Their leader, a wise and cautious being, spoke first. We have watched you, humans. Your bravery is commendable. What do you seek? Captain Reynolds stepped forward, his voice confident. We seek allies to stand against the Council. With your technology and knowledge, we can create a force that no one can ignore. The Krillians considered his words carefully. After a long discussion, they decided to join the alliance. They offered their advanced technology to help strengthen the coalition. As the days turned into weeks, the alliance between humans, Zorathians, and Krillians grew stronger. They trained together, shared resources, and developed new strategies. Captain Reynolds felt proud to be part of this united front. But in the shadows, the alien council was watching. They saw the growing alliance as a threat, and they began to plot their response. The humans and their new allies were becoming a force that could change the balance of power in the galaxy. As Captain Reynolds looked up at the stars, he felt a sense of purpose. They were no longer the laughingstock of the galaxy. They were warriors, united in their fight for freedom and respect. The time for action was coming, and they would be ready. The time had come for the final battle. The alliance of humans, Zorathians, and Krillians had prepared for this moment. Their combined strength and determination filled the air with a sense of purpose. Captain Mark Reynolds stood in the command center, surrounded by his allies. The atmosphere was tense but charged with energy. We have trained hard, and we know the Council's tactics, Captain Reynolds said, looking at each member of the team. Today, we fight for our freedom and the freedom of all species who oppose the Council. Let's show them that we are not their laughingstock anymore. Dr. Sarah Thompson was by his side, monitoring the battle plans on a large screen. The Council has gathered a massive fleet, but we have the element of surprise. We must hit them hard and fast. They will not expect our combined forces. As they launched their ships into space, the sight of the united fleet was awe-inspiring. Humans, Zorathians, and Krillians flew side by side, their vessels forming a powerful armada. Captain Reynolds felt a surge of pride as he gazed at the diverse fleet. This was a moment they had all worked for, and he was ready to lead them into battle. The location of the battle was in the heart of the Council's territory. The Council's flagship, a massive ship known as the Goliath, loomed in the distance. It was surrounded by countless smaller ships, ready to defend their leaders. The Council had sent out messages mocking the Alliance, but now it was time to silence them. As they approached, Captain Reynolds spoke through the comms. Stay focused! Follow my lead and remember our training. We will strike together. The humans and their allies surged forward, weapons armed and ready. The battle began with a deafening roar as energy beams and missiles lit up the dark void of space. The Alliance fought fiercely, dodging enemy fire and returning shots with precision. The Zorathians proved their might, engaging in close combat with the enemy ships. Their warriors were relentless, moving with speed and agility that caught the Council off guard. Captain Reynolds watched as they unleashed their fighting skills, pushing the enemy back. Meanwhile, the Krillians activated their advanced technology. They hacked into the Council's communication systems, disrupting their coordination. We have disabled their main line. a Krillian officer reported, a glimmer of hope in his voice. "They can't communicate effectively." "Good work," Captain Reynolds shouted, feeling the tide turn in their favor. He rallied his human crew, leading them toward the flagship of the Council. "Let's take the fight to their doorstep!" As they neared the Goliath, the Council's defenses intensified. The ship was heavily armed, with layers of shields and weaponry. "We need to breach their shields," Dr. Thompson shouted from the control room. "We have to target their power core!" With renewed determination, Captain Reynolds coordinated the attack. The Alliance focused their fire on the Goliath's shield generators, aiming to weaken its defenses. The explosions lit up the battlefield, creating a dazzling display of colors. But the Council fought back fiercely, launching their own counterattacks. Missiles flew through space, and the Alliance faced heavy losses. Captain Reynolds felt a deep sense of responsibility for every soldier fighting alongside him. "We can't give up!" he shouted, his voice rising above the chaos. "Keep pushing forward!" Just when things seemed bleak, the Zorathian leader, a massive warrior named Korak, pushed forward with a squad of his best fighters. "We will break through!" he roared, charging ahead. His bravery inspired others to follow, and the Alliance regrouped for one last push. With a united front, they launched their final attack. The Zorathians led the charge, while the Krillians provided covering fire. The humans navigated through the chaos, aiming directly for the Goliath's power core. As they reached the core, Captain Reynolds took a deep breath. "Now or never," he yelled. They unleashed everything they had, hitting the power core with a powerful blast. The explosion was immense. The Goliath shook, and the Council's flagship began to crumble. Panic spread through the enemy fleet as their strongest ship fell apart. "They're breaking!" a Council officer shouted in disbelief. One by one, the Council's ships began to retreat, their confidence shattered. The Alliance had done the impossible. They had defeated the Council, a feat that would be remembered for ages. As the battlefield grew quiet, cheers erupted among the Allied forces. "We did it!" Dr. Thompson shouted, tears of joy streaming down her face. Captain Reynolds looked at his friends and allies, filled with pride and gratitude. "We showed them that we are not a laughingstock," he said, his voice filled with emotion. "Today we have proven our strength and unity. This victory belongs to all of us." As they celebrated, Captain Reynolds looked out at the stars. He knew this was just the beginning. Together, they had faced the Council and emerged victorious. The galaxy would remember this day as the moment when humans stood up for themselves and found allies in the fight for freedom.